Silent Hill.
The Bubblehead Nurse.
2, I'm sorry.
Is an iconic female monster.
What?
That James Sunderland
they're
encounters
named the
in Silent Hill
Bobblehead
2,
Nurses?
and is suggestive of Mary Shepard Sunderland's hospitalization.
Yup. And then they just decide to show up every time.
Hospital and in the streets of dark South Vale. These creatures wear provocative attire.
Yeah.
Exposing cleavage and sporting miniskirts.
I didn't notice.
Their heads face downward, appearing swollen, bloodied, and covered in gauze. Convulsing violently.
Of course,
as
they've
they
changed
wobble
in
towards
every
their target.
single game they were in.
Their only
And then they
visible
just
facial
became
feature
sluts.
Are bloodied, exposed jaws and teeth. Upon close inspection, the last 4 digits of their hands seem to be fused together.
I'm glad you did
Nurses
close
move
inspection.
in an awkward manner.
You worried me for a
Their
second there,
legs
though. I gotta
carrying
say.
them in a shaky
Hold on.
and crooked fashion.
Seems she's
making
got
them
more
out to be a
hands.
slow opponent. Yet they are surprisingly fast on the attack. The nurses are likely manifested
But they've got
by
weird. They
James's
walk
mind,
like this.
combining his anxieties surrounding his wife's terminal illness and the sexual deprivation that came with it.
Oh shit!
Hence
I didn't
the
think of
risque
that.
Clothing worn by them. The nurses.
I don't know
also
why I didn't think of
die
that.
with
That's
their
like the
legs
most obvious
widely
thing if you
spread
think about
apart.
it.
A very provocative scene that further contributes to the game's sexual repression theme.
They love them
The
sexual
wrapped head of the nurse is
oppressiveness.
symbolic of
Whoa!
suffocation.
She's trying to go for the old
This
clothesline there.
references the events when James killed Mary by suffocating her with a pillow. Hence the reason why their heads convulse violently.
Oh,
like
I didn't think about that.
free from being suffocated.
Well, what about 3 and 4? Okay,
The Rorschach
never mind. We don't need.
is the only hostile monster encountered in Silent Hill Shattered Memories. As keeping up with the
I have this
psychology
game, but I
theme of
never
this
played
game,
it.
Their name is a play on the Rorschach test.
Ah.
They pursue Harry Mason during each nightmare sequence.
Where's
and
my
only appear
pants?
during
Give
the
me
high school
pants!
transition.
Give me the pants!
They
That's
are
all they
fairly
do. They just want
intelligent
pants.
And can work together
Can you
in packs to hunt
you
down Harry.
blame them for wanting pants?
The Rorschachs are hairless, pale-skinned humanoid creatures without facial features or distinguishing traits. save
Don't
for
they
their
change
twitching,
depending on how you do the
body
Rorschach
language,
tests at the
and
beginning?
emaciated frame.
Ew.
As the game progresses,
Too
the
handsy, guys.
Rorschachs
Too
begin to
handsy.
adopt different traits according to the player's
I thought about
profile.
recording this game.
There are 4 possible
Same with
traits that
the
Rorschachs
PSP one
may
that I haven't
adopt.
played.
By the end of the game, it is possible to have 2 or 3 traits mixed together. Feminine Rorschachs. The feminine Rorschachs have exaggerated female traits
What?
with
Wow!
prominent breasts and assaults.
Them
The
some
only
kissable lips,
feature on their
guys.
face are
Them
big,
some kissable lips.
wide lips. On their backs are patterned zipper-like ribs in their flesh.
Boy, I'm
similar
glad
to
this
a
didn't end
corset's
up being
legs.
racist, though, I have to say.
Their limbs appear to be stitched to resemble stockings, and their feet are molded into the shapes of high heels. Eventually, they become more explicitly presented, with organs, bones, and what seem to be nipples exposed, with heads resembling phalluses. When they embrace Harry, they do so in very sensually compromising ways. This trait is associated with the Sleaze and Sirens ending, which can be obtained by focusing perversely on women and sex. Diseased Rorschachs.
I feel like I've
These
got to
Rorschach
play in a
skins are
video
promoted.
game all of a sudden.
Bubbles and
Ryan!
fungi-like flesh cover their skin. Overall,
what a poor
they
guy.
appear sickly and cancerous.
You
This
don't
trait
say.
is associated with the drunk dad ending, which can be obtained by focusing on alcohol and drugs, but mostly anything that involves drinking.
Ugh. Though they look like they'd be.
Abstract Rorschach. These Rorschach's limbs are turned into discs.
Oh
with pieces
man,
of their
I
body
be
hovering
pissed.
in the air, giving
What'd he
them a
get? I don't
sliced
know. We're
like a
abstract
beard.
art now.
Their
God,
heads are shaped
help
into
us.
crosses, with a circular hole in the center.
Well, one. The other one's a
Eventually,
mountain.
They'll become more and more stone-like, with heads resembling bricks or mountains.
Man, now I want to play this
with
game.
rectangular protuberances coming out of their knees and shoulders.
Not because I'm weird.
This trait
'Cause
is associated
it's
with
actually
the
really
love
interesting.
lost ending,
I like
which
how
could
there's.
be obtained by being what would normally be understood as a good and caring person, and focusing
Yeah.
on finding Cheryl Mason without any distractions.
Oh shit, that's not good
Atrophied
for me.
Rorschachs.
I get distracted really
These
easily.
Rorschachs have holes all over their body, with joints and
We call
bones
them
poking out in random places, giving them a mutilated,
asshole.
disfigured look.
It's an asshole face, alright? I couldn't
Their
think of a
feet
fancy
appear
word to
be
go with it.
stumps, and their legs are very thin. This trait is associated with a wicked and weak ending, which can be obtained by being distracted by trivial things and focusing on being what one would typically see as uncaring and rude.
Oh
The
boy, I'm getting that
Rorschacs
ending.
are agents
That's
of
a
repression
bad one. I'm gonna-
created by Cheryl Mason's mind. They are trying to stop Harry Mason from finding Cheryl, and are Cheryl's attempts to keep the fantasy in her mind alive for as long as possible, instead of accepting the
How's
truth
the
of who
fantasy?
her dad really was.
Not very
as
good
well
job.
as his death. They attack Harry
The sexual
by
one's
clinging
cracking
and
me up.
hugging him,
It's just
unwilling to let go, and they never actually hurt him. Instead, they coo
just
and stroke
want
his head when he
pants.
passes out, and bring him back to the start of each Ice World nightmare sequence.
oh shit.
Eventually, towards the end of the
How
game,
does the one on the
Rorschachs overwhelm
bottom
Harry
right
and
stroke your
pile
head,
on
though?
top of him. However, they immediately freeze and shatter. This could be because Cheryl is beginning to accept the truth.
Ha! That's very interesting. I really love
The twin
Silent Hill
victim,
1.
also known as Doublehead, are
Oh
an enemy
god,
from
yeah,
Silent
they
Hill
freaked me
4,
right the frick
The Room.
out.
First encountered
buddy.
in the water prison.
Watch out, there's a worm there.
The creature appears to be a large
warning
set
you.
of sleeping conjoined twin infants.
I don't like golf,
wearing
man!
A tattered, dirty
Get out of
scarf
here!
and what looks like a scarf.
No!
They also appear
Oh,
to
that's
be
not a golf
feathered
club,
to
is it?
mild degree. Along with
Oh
pale
wait,
skin,
yeah it is!
they have enormous adult-like arms on which they
Oh,
stand.
I
Their arms
hate
come out
them!
from underneath
They're
their skin,
horrible!
as if they were a pair of legs. Walter Sullivan
This
second
battle
eight
is going
victims
really
were
shitty,
twins
by the
Billy and
way.
Miriam Lopez.
Both of them are swirling
first
around
mentioned
like
in
they're
Silent Hill
they're
3.
having a dance battle.
They are the only two of Walter's victims that have been reincarnated into the form of a monster instead of ghosts. Although this makes sense for the creature's origin, it is unknown why there are so many of them in the game. However, this can possibly be explained by a potential latter meaning.
Uh-huh.
The twin victims are essentially conjoined twins. The
Oh.
main theme in the game is Walter's demented level of attachment and misunderstanding of his mother. And it is revealed throughout the gameplay of just how attached he is to her.
Oh no!
The twin victim
Oh, no!
could also be a manifestation of his severe attachment.
Well, it didn't end in sex, so I'm okay. I thought it was
Gray
gonna be like,
children,
he banged
also
me
known
back!
as demon children, are childlike.
Oh, from the first
knife-wielding
one?
monsters that inhabit.
I don't remember them
Midwich
looking like that.
Elementary
Just imagine
School
them
in
look like
Silent Hill.
dumpy little fat kids.
They are
I'm
also
gonna get
found
you.
in its film adaptation and Silent Hill
Stop it.
Book of Memories.
You got a butter knife, Tim. Stop
They are
it.
exclusive to the North American version of the game and do not appear in the European or Japanese versions.
What?
In the PAL and NTSC-J version of the game, these creatures were replaced by mumblers, as their appearance was deemed too similar to that of children by censors. In Silent Hill, the Gray Children
Oh.
appear as childlike creatures with pale grayish-green
I
skin
didn't know that.
wielding long knives. They have gap-like mouths and a series
Eyes
of
the
slits
dumpy
where
little
their eyes should
kids.
be. Gray Children are the distorted, disturbed perception of Alessa Gillespie's classmates as seen through her eyes.
Oh,
Reminders
okay,
of
that
the
makes
torment
sense.
And ridicule they
I
have
just
used
thought
to win,
James.
such
Wait,
as
no.
scribbling,
Harry didn't like
"Go
kids.
home," and
Remember that
"Drop
video I
dead"
watched that gothic
deaths.
kid? Leave me alone!
This
That
is
was-
supported by the
that was
Gray
Harry.
Children's childish laughter whenever they attack the player. They
Bet my
also
dick.
resemble children in how they hug his legs, as young ones occasionally do.
Are you my daddy? No, God,
Pyramid
I have
Head
another
is
one.
a monster.
it's
and
your
in its
boy!
essence, a duo of monsters that debuted
That's
in
my-
Silent Hill 2.
That's my
as
side of the
arguably
floor. That's what the
main
picture's saying.
antagonist. Pyramid Head is one of the most well-known and iconic monsters in
And
the
how
Silent Hill
jacked he
series.
is! Mm.
For Silent Hill 2,
Well,
Ito
first off, he has to
wanted a
carry around
monster
that big
with a
knife,
hidden
so.
face to make it less human and more disturbing.
It's amazing how
His
they
first
made
idea was a
the
monster
first
with a
monster they
mask.
ever made that was pretty
But he
cool
realized
looking.
that
Everyone
it was
remembers
nothing
it.
more than a human garbed in a simple
Nobody
facial disguise.
remembers Moth from the
He
first
then
one.
took the concept
Classic.
further,
I wish he
giving the
came
monster a
back.
head in the shape of a triangle, with sharp right angles and acute edges that suggest the possibility of pain.
I mean, he does. Look at
Pyramid
giant
Head is
blade.
the dominant male side of James Sunderland's psyche, dishing out the kinds of
Oh, that's why he's
brutality
got
and
the-
violence that James never could. Like an executioner, Pyramid Head is a faceless punisher who doles out punishment for James's sins in the form of merciless death.
And sometimes he has a spear. But we don't know where he got the spear. He just kind of finds them.
Valtiel is a monster in
What do you-
Silent
what?
Hill 3 and Silent Hill Revelations, as well as a
What is
governing
going? What's
angel
that? I remember
in
this.
Silent Hill.
Why is she
Despite his
all
demonic
gross?
appearance in Silent Hill 3. His name means
Ew,
attendant, by way
he's
of the
grabbing
French
her
word
legs.
valet.
That's
His existence
gross.
as an angel
You leave
is
Heather
derived
alone.
from suffixing L. Thus, he is attendant of God, a title attributed to theological angels.
Oh.
Valtiel is humanoid in appearance.
Oh yes, I have
but
heard
his
of
head
him.
vibrates and twitches rapidly, obscuring his facial
Most of them
features, although
do.
there
I
are
kind of
not
just put
many
that to
features
Silent Hill.
visible,
Everyone just
as his
vibrates.
face is blank and leathery.
How to
With a
create a
series of
monster?
crude
They just
stitches
take a
where his
vibrator
mouth
and
should
stick
be.
down his throat. That's his heart.
He is garbed in ceremonial robes.
God damn, where's the
and
freaking
wears
battery?
gloves. His hands and parts of his body are smudged in what appears to be blood.
Nice shoes though, bud.
As God's attendant, Valtiel observes Heather in order to ensure the birth of God. His garb, consisting of a mask,
And then she just shits it out on the floor, and it's really
is
awkward.
reminiscent of surgical wear, symbolizing
Who knew it was that? He's
his
just like,
role in helping
ah!
to deliver the
Frick
ritual of
you!
God.
Take that!
Unlike most monsters,
hold on,
in the
I
series,
just
Valtiel doesn't
decided it
appear
all.
to be a manifestation of any person's
Taco
emotions
Tuesday.
or
Oh God, Brian,
subconscious.
no, don't make that joke.
It is possible he is a unique being that exists in the other world, whose
Hmm.
existence is independent of humans, directly serving God.
Or not.
Scarlet is the second boss encountered in Silent Hill Homecoming at the end of Hell
Scarlet?
Descent.
Oh
She is the manifestation
no!
of Dr.
Yep.
Martin Fitch's guilt over murdering his daughter, Scarlet Fitch, who
Oh,
was
yeah.
dismembered and sacrificed to appease the Order's God. The act of murdering his
God, I
daughter took a
remember all
heavy toll
this.
on Dr. Fitch, as evidenced by his
I did beat this one
uncertain
too.
behavior and self-mutilation. After being presented with one of Scarlet's dolls, Fitch's scars open, and he begins to bleed profusely. And Scarlet's doll
Silent Hill was an
rises
effed up
from
place.
the bloody pool as a
It's so
tall,
effed up.
doll-like monster, whom Fitch begs for forgiveness. In response,
Didn't she
the
eat his
Scarlet
face?
monster seems to cradle him for a moment, as if considering it, then bites Fitch's head off and tosses his body aside. Scarlet's monstrous form is tall and
Well, you
extremely
know,
thin.
he did kill her.
She has
I'd probably
white,
bite someone's head off too.
segmented armor resembling a porcelain doll that can be broken away to reveal a thin, fleshy underlining.
He's so
The head of
freaky.
the doll can be shattered and broken, showing it to be hollow with a fracture along the mouth, allowing an increase in her bite radius. Her
I
mouth
want
is
to be
filled
farther away
with
than this.
needle-like teeth, and she is prone to letting out snake-like hisses and shrieks.
I don't remember her being.
Her hands
Does she go?
resemble more of a wild beast
I'm a
than
snake.
humans, with
God, this
short,
is spooky
stubby
business.
fingers. This
don't like-
creature is obviously the memory of Scarlet Fitch, manifested from her father's horrible guilt.
Yup, that's
Her
for
form
sure.
is based on Scarlet's love of dolls, which fill her room and can be found strewn
Why does she have
along the
big doll
path to
nipples,
Fitch's
though?
location. Her rapidly beating heart, visible only after her back.
God, oh, I hate that.
Off,
I hate how
is
she got
quite
up.
possibly
Don't like
a
that. Can we go to the
representation
next
of sheer
one?
Trauma Scarlet experienced as she slowly approached death by mutilation, which is precisely what Alex must do in order to
Can we
kill
just
her.
agree that the cult from
Fitch
Silent Hill just
sacrificed
needs a
Scarlet
big
by
old kick in the
dismembering
dick?
her, and the
Just-
Scarlet
just have someone
creature's
run
doll
up.
form
Bam.
shows this with the crude form
Suck
in her
it, Celeste.
joints.
Wait. No. That's
Scarlet's
the
appearance
character
may
from
also be
freaking
related to how
Robo.
Dr. Fitch saw
I'll
his
figure
daughter.
it too, but.
Should Alex choose a certain option while speaking with him, Fitch will describe Scarlet's hands as pure as porcelain, an expensive and very fine substance when making dolls. Fitch made it clear he highly treasured his daughter despite him murdering her, seeing her as a priceless treasure. After defeating her for the first time, she revives and crawls
Oh,
around
I
like an
forgot
infant,
about that.
being capable of
Oh, I
climbing up
hated this
walls and
fight so
scurrying
much.
around on all fours.
Just involved me going, ah.
The reason for this is probably the take on Alex's guilt of his brother Joshua's death, as Josh had a love for spiders.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's pretty interesting. Oh, thank God it's over. What's that?
Amnion is the final boss
Amno
of
Huda?
Silent Hill Homecoming. She's possibly
They
a
really liked
manifestation of
Homecoming on this
Joshua's
one.
angry and vengeful side. While
Even
Alex
though they
Shepard's
had the
overwhelming
only silent
guilt
3
over
monsters,
his
the
brilliant
penis?
demise, or
Oh no,
both.
the other guy was here.
Amnion appears as a female humanoid figure attached to a large mechanical apparatus resembling
Oh, come
a
on!
spider,
You can't be scared of someone who has a Papa Book face!
with a watermelon
Whoa!
corpse, or a woman in the final days of pregnancy.
She
Amnion has
also
3
looks
pairs
like
of
the
breasts
stinking spider
just
from
above her
Pikmin
inflated
2!
abdomen. She has no arms, and her 6 spider-like metallic legs are fused with her ribs.
I gotta disagree with him
Another
on this. I
feature
didn't really
is a
find her that
hose-like
scary.
black structure that comes out of her mouth and attaches between her legs.
Gross, maybe,
like an
but
umbilical cord.
my
However,
problem with
it convulses
3,
and flows
with
as if
5,
it has fluids circulating in it.
I'll talk
face
about it at the
also
end.
telescopes forward, all attached to a mechanical frame which fits back together. Her appendages end.
I love
in
how this guy
very wicked,
doesn't give a shit about
claw-like
guns.
instruments.
Pure fisticuffs.
Amnion
How
could be
I like to
seen
fight
as
my spiders
representing
too.
Joshua's anger towards Alex for his death, and also his desire to have Alex accept what he'd done. Another view on the creature is that she could represent Alex's guilt regarding Joshua's death. She may also
Like,
be
also
symbolic
looks like
of
a giant
Alex
spider.
and Joshua's mother, Lillian Shepard.
Oh.
However, there's not much about Amnion which supports this idea, other than the fact that she is female and she has Joshua in her womb. Her form is derived mainly from Joshua's death via
Oh, doesn't he
drowning,
like rip
and
it
his
out
love
of his
of
stomach
insects
too?
and
It's really
spiders,
gross.
as evidenced by his collection of drawings.
Yeah,
She's
here
also
it
representative
comes.
of the fact that Joshua was
Here
babied by his
comes,
parents
here
and was
comes
called a
your
baby
boy.
by Alex not long before his death. This notion is supported when Alex cuts Amnion open to see Joshua's body in the fetal position. Further symbolism of the
fun!
theme of birth and
Video
Joshua's
games, right,
death
guys?
includes the name Amnion, referencing
Oh, that was
the
a bitch slap.
amniotic sac that surrounds a fetus, as well as the imagery of an umbilical cord. The body of Amnion's first form is also clearly bloated and grey in tone.
Really?
appearing
I didn't
deprived
notice.
of oxygen, which are traits very commonly found in a drowning victim.
Oh, you're
Joshua's cause of
right.
death. The extending neck is reminiscent of a view
I've
camera,
cringed up.
which may
like,
symbolize
locked in
Joshua's
place.
love for photography. The similarity that Amnion's legs have, and also her way of death, flipping upside down and legs crumbling up, are similar to how a spider's death is portrayed,
Oh.
symbolizing Joshua's love for spiders.
Just really like spiders because he was a freak.
I hope
Well, that was a fun time. The only thing I disagree with is there is way too many 5. Okay, so here's my problem with 5. Silent Hill made monsters, and they didn't make monsters with tropes. Hear me out. When they made the mannequin monster with, like, you know, the legs and that, they want to make something different. They could have just done a full mannequin body and went, woo. But they usually didn't. They tried to create new monsters and monsters that represented stuff more than Silent Hill 5. Silent Hill 5, like I said, Human Centipede was hip at the time, so they made Human Centipede. They wanted to make something spooky doll monster. They made a giant doll monster. Spiders? People who fear spiders. Silent Hill was never one to want to go for someone's just, like, outright fear. They wanted to create something new. And maybe it'd have attributes of that, but Silent Hill 5 just kind of just went and said, let's find some tropes. People don't like spiders. Dolls. Human Centipede. Mix it up. And the problem is, if it wasn't Silent Hill, it wouldn't bother me too. I don't know. It's hard to describe unless you've played the games and you're really in the lore. You'll notice there's a big difference between Silent Hill monsters and then Silent Hill 5 and 6 monsters. They look so mainstream instead of, creative. But anyways, I'm just a little Babu fanboy that just likes the little Silent Hill once in a while. I can't get the image of that one posing on the side. No one's gonna have sex with you, creepy Rorschach monster. But he tried, and that's all that matters. Just like you should try to subscribe to my channel, leave a like down below, and of course, write a comment on what you would like me to react to. Now, excuse me, I'm gonna play all the Silent Hill games because I have a humongous urge to do so. Oh, and of course, if you want me to, like, record playing Silent Hill, put it in the comments, I don't know.